Peace. Welcome to Spearz and Micz. I'm Zulu King L1. I'm your host. And today we have our brother Zulu King Just P in the building with us. We also have Shaka Zulu Watt in the building. And we got our very special guest from Minnesota, DJ Stage One. Uh, DJ, of course, an author of a book, A Bridge is Over, and also a hip hop activist as well. So thank
The
you,
bridge
DJ
is over.
Stage One.
It's the bridge is over.
Peace.
Bridge is over.
The
I had to
bridge
There
push
is
it up
over.
there. Push it up.
you go.
Word up.
No doubt,
Yeah, you know.
definitely,
Ready?
Word. Want
definitely,
to
man.
say peace to the Akis in the place. And again, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'll keep
Um,
peace, definitely.
Word. It's a blessing to be able to talk about the history because one thing I always say, it's definitely in the heart of mine in my beginnings, but I couldn't do it without a community.
No
And
doubt,
that's real. It started from my community and then it branched off into I'm gonna say world, but nationwide community, preferably city in New York for
no
sure.
doubt. Well,
So
now that you showed us the book, can you tell the world about your book and where they could
uh,
purchase it and support?
you can get it from me, DJ Stage One, gmail.com. Hit me up or get at the brothers here and they'll, send you the link, lead you the way.
Indeed.
This is the book right here. The Bridge is Over. Um, Basically an exorcism of stories that I've had throughout the years as a kid. Good and the bad. It's kind of like a Forrest Gump story without the Forrest Gump, but just different things happening. Different milestones in the world were happening at the time. I'm 52 years old, so mind you, this is like 13, I say 14, yeah, 13, 14, 15, adolescent years, coming of age of hip hop. So I seen,
Hmm.
we come from that era with the phone before the phone connected to the wall, the jacks, we come from a different type of technology, a different era, a different way of eating, different way of everything, different way of dealing with each other in the communities and things like that. So the diseases, just all type of things, drugs. I mean, come on, you know what I mean? We seen the transformation of a high powered drug from just a regular drug that we might even just kind of chilled off if we seen it. But when crack hit, it changed economically, mentally. Scrubs were becoming large overnight. I mean, that's the era. When you come from, I started like the mid '80s to the early '90s. A lot happened at that time for us. No matter how old we was, if we was outside, we had certain family members that was about the community of life. We seen a lot of changes, and hip hop was happening in those changes for me. So it was kind of like stories about coming up with hip hop as the background base of it, just through the years of me finding confidence through hip hop culture, just all types of things.
And what got you into hip hop, Aki? What was it that lured you into the culture from your earliest days that you could recall?
DJing, but real DJs, real mixed DJs. Even when I
Hmm.
heard like generic, like I won't say it was generic, but when I heard like pop records, with DST, DXT cutting and all that, like, that made me want to mix and do sounds. And when I heard that Herbie Hancock mega mix, that blew me, Grandmaster Flash, on the Wheels of Steel joint with all the mixes, like I've just been fascinated with that. Even like Malcolm McLaren, that was my first record, the Buffalo Guys EP with the different joints and mixes and
Hmm.
World Famous Supreme Team all through it like that. Like those are my influence. And then it kind of grew to like Red Alert. I was getting them Red Alert tapes, High 97 tapes, ill promos, ill scratching back and forth with the one, double up records and just a vibe, especially during that time because like Red Alert will have like the Jungle Brothers doing promos, all these different artists that you only hear on the records doing promos and all this scratching and cutting. I just always been into DJing, and I think that's really my first introduction. Is just wanting to do something with sounds,
No doubt.
Was
manipulate.
this
And,
was this in Minnesota or were you like on the East?
Yeah, I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Minnesota, um, this place has evolved a lot when it comes to hip hop culture. there was actually a form of Zulu Nation that wasn't, and there was all kinds all over the world. Basically, people would say, you know, they're part of the Zulu Nation or right Zulu Nation, but they really wasn't. Here,
Mm,
we had we had an ill gang culture. So you had Chicago gangs out here. So, you know, some would fly to number 5, some would fly to number 6. What Cass did out here did the number 8. So it was the square and then another square like this. So you got the 8 points. And
mm,
people kind of recognized that as a gang, but it wasn't. It was a bunch of youths that was just doing hip hop. But because
mm,
we were, and not to stray too far off into this, but because we were doing an alternative to gang banging in that level where we, you know, guys weren't punks and nothing, they just wasn't doing that. And some of them were gang members, but they chose to get involved with this. It became a situation where it was a lot of conflict between other groups of people here. You know, you might be out in numbers and fighting because, and then they would call us b-boys. We all know the term b-boys was, you know, kind of towards dancing. But here, that was just oh, you a b-boy, you one of them, like that. So
mm,
it was a lot of confrontation back then.
mm.
It's wild. It's a wild story. You know, every city has a story, and that's another thing about even me
Yeah,
trying to write this book is to encourage other cities like Tacoma, Washington, or Oklahoma, somewhere, whoever. Hip hop is thriving
mm,
everywhere else. These artists wouldn't be able to tour and go to these places. So there's a
right.
culture in each city, and sometimes these cities get stuck on whatever big city is near them. So we're near Houston, so we're gonna be kind of jocking them, or not jocking them, but being influenced by them. You know, here we're near Chicago, so drill rap is popular with the youth out here. You know what I mean? And
Mm,
just wherever you live in Arizona, it's kind of West Coast, it's whatever. So, you know, but people need to tell these stories to make this grow in order for there to be museums in other cities. Like, you know,
right.
because of the memorabilia and the years of guys, and they might not ever made it, but there's a scene and they have a story. And you know, I feel like everybody should have this day in this. You know, they say there's a lot of bravado in hip hop, but we all trying to, it's about taking people out. It's about battling. It's about competition. It's about looking fly. You might not want to be the best, but you definitely in the league. You know, it's about that. You want to excel in whatever element you in. You know, so every
Right, of
city had
course.
that MC in the classroom, or you know what I mean, the LL dude in the class back in our day or whatever. Like there was always somebody that was an aspiring MC or graffiti writer, whatever. And these guys just grew up and get jobs, but they might have had a heck of a story. You know what I mean? And
Right.
we got crazy stories of people that we probably don't even kick it with anymore or passed away. And these are the stories that need to be told because it's not just the culture, it's also the camaraderie, the individuals and the love and that's another reason why I got down with hip hop. I was seeing, like, from my standpoint, I was seeing artists you know, getting together doing stuff. Even like, you know, UZN, it was a conglomerate, a family of individuals. The people you didn't think was one was one. You know, like that. Like, let me show you. Let me show y'all real quick. Got an old shirt. I'm gonna break up a couple more things for y'all. But I got this old joint. This is my first shirt, man. It's
Woo.
mad
Yeah,
small.
that's crazy.
Crazy.
Crazy old,
That's
right?
ho- that's hard.
That's
That's
throwback.
hard.
That's
But look on the
throwback.
back, right? The back is
Look,
dumb. Look at the back, yo.
hard. That
And it
looks like
got
you took
bad.
that
Sure.
off the back of Africa Islam.
Yeah,
You know what
this
I'm
the
saying?
shirt
Like,
I got this shirt back in the day. It's a rock this shirt. But the names on here are so crazy because it's got names on here you wouldn't think. Like I see like Easy E on here. You know what I'm saying? Just so
Mm.
many names. I don't know if y'all can really see. It's
yeah,
like
it's a little
mad names.
grainy, but yeah, it's
Mad
crazy.
It's
names.
mad names on there. Yeah,
You know what
there's
I'm
mad
saying?
names on there.
Different community centers, all type of stuff. I was just like, yo, this is ill. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right, right.
the man sent me this joint. I took care of it pretty good, man. I used to wear it like crazy,
Yeah,
but I took
listen.
care of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But it's
Yo,
that, you
that's
know
like
what
a
I mean? But
relic right there.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's worthy of going in the museum.
Word.
When
Yo,
y'all establish that, I know you're working on that too. We're gonna get into that as well.
Word,
how,
word.
how
I
did
feel,
you how did you get down with the Zulu Nation?
I'm gonna show you that too. Just I told you I was bringing receipts, my brother.
Yeah,
Let me tell
yeah.
you.
Yeah, bring
Uh,
them. We like receipts.
yeah.
And when you can talk about how there was different Zulu nations, not necessarily the UZN. I think you mentioned
I
that
used to see that on
earlier.
TV, like some cats in Miami, like
Oh,
some
they were
dudes,
Zulu.
like they was like a gang or something. And the way the
Yeah,
Mm.
news,
those are real Zulus
Yeah,
though.
they Zulu.
Chapter 3, chapter 6.
this was like in the 80s, the dudes had mullets and it was like, yo, they talking about shooting dudes and just
Yeah,
crazy. I
they
was like,
Zulu.
it
Word.
was wild. I was like, I don't know about that one because they were just real hard headed. They, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, I don't know. So I think they
Yeah.
wasn't real. But this was like for real. If you'd have heard the conversation, you'd be like, oh yeah, I don't think so either. Because they wasn't kicking nothing, but you come around here, it's on like it was on that. Just and dude was talking slow and dumb. It was whack. So
Right.
I was a little
They might
disappointed
have
even
been
back
Zulu
then.
though.
No,
Maybe,
they
They
maybe
were.
were
no
They
Zulu.
were,
They
no
were
yeah.
Zulu.
disrespect.
Yeah.
They
I
I
might have
hope
just
not. But
they might have
it
I
just
didn't
know
want.
been
I know
wanting some
I
hip
know
hop stuff.
Zulus. I know Zulus that are out
Yep.
right now that were with them dudes.
Yeah, yeah,
Now
yeah.
they know they was on some BS, but yeah, it was like
It was against the
an
grain,
official
man.
chapter. It was
And
totally
no
against the grain,
disrespect
and
to
not
them.
what we. Yeah,
Because
right.
that goes back to what I'm saying about when I was saying about the 8 point star and all. It was the same thing, but it wasn't due to we're gonna go out and do nothing. It was more of a retaliatory. We have to stay in numbers situation against people who were
Hmm.
just mad at us because we were there. So I'm not saying anything like really ill towards them, but I'm not gonna lie. The way they were talking to the media and all that, it was not
Yeah.
civilized, and I was
Uh,
just like, oh, hold
yeah.
up, like maybe
A
not.
Right.
misrepresentation.
Yeah,
Certainly.
yeah.
Right. That's a good
Yeah.
way
But
to put it. Right.
Yeah,
Total
misrepresentation.
misrepresentation of what
Yeah.
we should represent and what we're striving for.
that's the old joint.
Yeah, from the PO
Yeah,
box. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. It go the old. I ain't gonna. I'm gonna just flash it with the old letter from like that. You know what I'm saying? Like handwritten joints. Um, just trying to create something. Totally went for it because it's like, yo, I was always in the crew starting out as a graffiti writer. That's another camaraderie thing with me is, you got the big homie you trying to be like, and get to his level, and you just got that level of crew, you know what I'm saying, which I'm not really into anymore. But back then, I think that was the discipline I needed without having to go to the army. I looked up to some guys, I
Mhm.
respected them, I got up under them, learn how to do my thing, get fresh and all that. Like, you know what I mean? It was just a rites of passage. That's how I kind of looked at this situation as well. When it was just more of a bigger picture.
Mhm.
Right.
Was the graph scene really bubbling out there out in Minnesota?
Stupid. Come on, that was my
Were
beginning. The b-boying
right,
was playing, but graffiti writing, tagging, but it was more about doing pieces. But um, that took over for me. I think that I hate to say it, I don't want to say it in a bad way, but cats be like hip hop wrecked my life. Graffiti did something
right,
to me because um, I stopped writing in cursive. Everything I wrote was tag style. I still do, and luckily we're in computers now, so it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? But I incorporated graffiti into my life so much, like it's just took over. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop in general, but graffiti took my life over straight up. So
right,
man, that's basically what the vein that I write from, man, is the life of a graffiti writer. 'Cause I learned so much. You violate, you might have to pay or pay. You know what I mean? Like, writing over somebody. It was a lot of wars like
hmm,
that. You know what I mean? Like we used to really get into it. And but it was also fun too. I mean, we were innovative, but at the same time we were basically children of subway art. Henry Shaflin's book, I hope I didn't misrepresent his last name, but uh, and I forget the other woman's name. She's the bomb, but they were taking those photos. Everybody had subway art, and it just took over. I think that book needs a documentary because for people outside of the tri-state area that didn't get to see MTA trains, twos and fives, and the Hall of Fame, they didn't see that. You know what I mean? Like they don't know about Shame and guys like that. Um,
hmm,
it's just an aspect of looking at this book and trying to absorb what you can. And back then, it was so many different cities, all over that were absorbing New York City graffiti, subway art, and that
right,
created people bombing out here and developing these communities. And just on graffiti alone, you can just go probably to mad cities, West Bubble Whoops, and be like, oh wow, I see a tag, I see a bomb, or you might even see a flyer for a show on a Saturday night. I mean, it's everywhere now. But graff, man, I'm telling you, in the '80s, it was a wave worldwide, but it hit here, and we had crews for days everywhere. But my side of town, like no disrespect, but my side of town was where all the kings lived. Everybody that was dope in the '80s was my side of town. My side of town was so hood that by the time, and this is in the book, by the time the '90s came, nobody was doing nothing no more. Everybody's getting money, going to jail, dying, and going to school. That's what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, the crews was dying out. I had a baby, you know what I mean? Like, all that. I was still trying to stick with it, but all my people, and I hung with older dudes, so you already know, they breaking north. They doing other things, getting married, all that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm like out here. And like, I'm actually working on another book, but it's going to be kind of put together in a different way, but it speaks on like my part in the second wave of the culture out here. Because at first I was the son, I was the toy, I was learning because I came up in graffiti art. I didn't come up DJing, come up rapping. We came up doing flyers for the shows and things like that. But I came up in graffiti culture, which I think is way more harder because you got to go through more trial and error to be accepted. My crew didn't want to accept me. The president was like, I want him in. Everybody's like, we don't. You know what I'm saying? So I had to work. I had to bomb. I had to do all kind of stuff. I had to not ask for styles. I had to create my own styles. You know what I'm saying? So it was a work in progress. And I think that's, to me, that's like the hardcore school for hip hop. Or being in a crew with some MCs or a DJ, hanging with like 3 or 4 DJ dudes. It's competition growing up because you're constantly trying to keep your blade sharp. And that's where it was with rap. Like to this day, I still peace. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to hit, a wall out there like that because my name is, but I'll still do it. You commission a wall, I'm there, all that. That's what we do.
Um, being that graffiti was so dear to you, like, do you recall in your younger years when Style Wars dropped? Like, what was that like when you first viewed Style Wars?
Come on, man. I'm going to say this, and I didn't do this, but I know a bunch of dudes hitting pause. And you get the arrow, like whatever, copying the language and everything. You know what I mean? Because
Right, right.
that was a hip documentary. I be tripping because like K Slay, when I see K Slay, I be looking at him as Dez. You know what I mean?
Right.
And even when I was young, I was trapped to Dez. I looked at all this in so many different ways, but that was my guy. The brother at this doing this thing to this day. So I always held K Slay in this high regard because I respected him when I was a kid. And a
Ain't no
lot
Zulu
of
brother
people,
on top of that.
oh,
And it's
exactly. And that's the beginning.
chapter 13, East Harlem.
Okay, word up.
Wow.
That strength was represented back then with that. One wouldn't want to be down with that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
family that take care of each other, But yo, I had the other one. I had this one, I think you was on it. I had one of these with you on it. Excuse me, the postcard. I think I
Oh,
had you.
word?
I think Lucky was on it and Crazy Legs. I think you, Crazy Legs, and a couple other people, but you was definitely on it.
That's
Word.
crazy. Yeah, I remember
Man.
you telling me that.
Yeah, I got it. I thought I had it with me, but I don't. But I'll slide it to you when I do find it though. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, no doubt, definitely. R.I.P. Zulu King Lucky Strike, by the way. You know what I
Word, man.
mean?
That was my regional
Word.
guy. Like when I got put on officially back then, he was like, you holler at him, that's your man. So he was the
Wow.
one who I dealt with. And then the early Omega Zulus, Felipe and them, they was dealing with him as well. Him and Felipe got real tight, you know what I'm saying? And I was in the early stages of it, you know what I'm saying? And another thing about that is when I did get down, I was by myself and I was encouraged. If I could pull a letter out right now, I was always encouraged to create a chapter and be a chapter leader here. But this city
Hmm.
wasn't ready for it, man. Like it was drug gangs, killings. Like it was all that. Nobody wanted to be a part of that. And then if you did say it, what is it? Just sound like another gang. So it was kind of
Right.
like, you know what I mean? Like for real. And even on a hip hop level, because It just wasn't part of the program at the time, where today is thriving and doing very beautiful things. But back then, in my, pivotal era, it just wasn't feasible. My peers were not doing anything like that. But at the same time, they were a part of it, because it became a part with me, where I became eventually the hip hop homie. I was no longer just a part of the crew. This is my hip hop dude, because I'm doing other things. So it would be like
Right.
my guys, we still were connected to the culture, but they just were living different lives. So joining, creating that type of organization out here was kind of out of the question.
Right.
You know,
Definitely. So can you talk about I know right now you've been working on it for quite a while, right? Like establishing this Minnesota Hip Hop Museum. Is that what y'all working on?
I mean, eventually, that's going to come into play. And that's another thing that I've done, that hip hop has taught me, not any organization, but just hip hop in general, and people around me have taught me again, the extreme purpose for uh, awareness of who you are and the part you play in this culture, if you do play an active spoke in the will. And my community, like, I wanted people to know that you were all important, no matter what area you're in. So I did like this thing called the Great Day in Hip Hop. This is one of them. This is the second one, but it's just a gathering of some of the prominent, not all, but a lot of the prominent people in the community that were doing hip hop. You know what I mean? It after a while became a family thing, where people was bringing their kids, and you know what I mean. It was only three, right? But it was super ill, and the first one was the best because everybody came, right?
That
But
was a big turnout. I remember
yeah,
seeing that. Like,
yeah. So um, I'll create a link to that too. So if anybody's interested, please contact these brothers and they'll give you the information. But definitely like to
I'll put
support
the links. I'll
what
put
they
the
do.
links in the
In the
description.
description, right?
Yep. So that
For
way
sure, for
they could
sure.
hit the links.
Definitely like and subscribe once again to their podcast. Let's keep it going. Um,
Appreciate
but
it.
for sure, um, it's important, man. Getting real information out here is important. But and that's the thing, we all have our levels of getting things out, and you guys are doing this outreach to people inviting guests, putting some real opinions out here instead of all this media hoopla. Like, you guys are really dropping some real topics and keeping a super buck, right? So it's like same thing, like, you're bringing people together, and this is the 50th. You know what I'm saying? Same thing.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I've done it like 4 or 5 times, just getting people together, man. I just think that's important, that people recognize who they are. I mean, what I was saying, like, you're interacting with a hip hop participant in the community that's 50 years old, and you got somebody 18, you got a kid that's the prodigy.
mm.
We all meeting in the same place, and we seeing what it is. Like the self destruction video back in the days, when you just see everybody together. They got their
Right.
kids
Mm-hmm.
with them or whatever, and they just out there doing it. It's a camaraderie of people in the culture that get along. There's no rivalry, showing love, and I just wanted people to see, that. And then again, right here, I wish I had the real one on me, but I don't. But this is the proclamation that I got to create, Twin Cities Hip Hop Day. Celebrating
That's what's
everyone
up. That's
here.
major.
Yeah,
That's major.
we gotta, and
That's
you have communities that have a little jealousy and envy in there like that, right? And I'm just like, it doesn't have to be from me. Don't use me as the figurehead of this. This is your day. Like, do your thing. Do a show, whatever. Paint, have a mural day or whatever. Just, it's a day that we should celebrate. You know what I mean? And I feel it's important because, like I said, there's so many levels to this. From every gender, every age group that's participating in this culture is going to new grounds. And I feel like we should take more, all communities should take more pride in what they do, where they come from. They should know where they come from. Like, I hate to say, I hate sometimes, like, when you look at Philly hip hop and they say, yo, the history of Philly hip hop, sometimes they don't even go back to Tough Crew and Steady B and
Mm-hmm.
Hilltop, they
Mm-hmm.
don't
And
go back
Schoolie
to that
D.
School
Yep.
D and,
Yep.
Chill T and them. They don't go back to that. And it's like, y'all
Mm-mm.
stopping at state property? You serious? Like, we gotta
Right.
go. You know what I'm
That's a
saying? Like,
whole history.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of cities get trapped in that. Where, like I remember seeing a documentary about Brooklyn hip hop that Daddy O did. Crazy ill. And
Mm-hmm.
I got this book, which I could show you. It's by this brother named
That's a
Push.
daddy, yo.
You see
Yeah,
the
piece of Stetsasonic.
word. And it was just about hip hop culture from, Grandmaster Flowers and just all that. And it was super ill because again, everybody has a story. It's not taken away from the original place where it came from, but what it turned into. And cities like mine, that lack thereof mentality where we couldn't get the whole thing, so cities create their own thing. That's why there's an
Mm-hmm.
NWA. Why is the Too Short? That's why there's a Ghetto Boys. All these guys, they created
Absolutely.
something from what they had because they couldn't get the whole thing. So we're gonna do it our way, and we're gonna, you know what I mean? That's where we
Mm-hmm.
are now. So it's
Right.
time for a museum in every major city to celebrate the unsung, to celebrate the people that made this region a success. I'm originally from Ohio. They got a whole Ohio hip hop awards. The whole
Mm.
state
That's dope.
here would be Minnesota, but it would probably be 3 different cities or something that would come together for that. Well, Ohio, you got Akron, Columbus, all these areas, and they have a whole hip hop award. We need
That's
that in
dope.
every, they need the West Coast hip hop award without the drama. Like people, like if we leave it to corporate America, they're not gonna tell it right, and they're gonna hire somebody as an advisor that don't know nothing either. They're gonna tell it wrong.
Mhm.
A lot of
Right.
us have way, we know the real, but it gets overshadowed by people who write about hip hop or do movies and videos about hip hop who wasn't there. They weren't old enough to have that certain experience, and then they hire the wrong guy, and then the culture gets misinterpreted, which is where we are now. Still, even though we've made all this progress, there's still a lot of interpretation in hip hop, and certain people have the forefront of it that shouldn't. They're TMZ rappers, and you know what I mean. Like they're in the forefront of this, and then meanwhile we down here
Mm-hmm.
arguing about who started it and all that stupid
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Right. Yeah. The negativity be overshadowing all the positivity in the culture.
Definitely, definitely. I grew up, idolizing all cultures that did hip hop. And as a DJ and as a person who likes sounds, there was so many rhythms and drums that came from other countries that I was into, the congas and anything. It was just ill sound. So like, how could you hate this when you're pulling from all these different places to create what we had? People forget that
Right.
before the sampling drum. I mean, when you look at even like Beat Street, even when you look at Double K sounds, he coming with soca and scratching, he's manipulating, he's creating something else, and just from different musical cultures and all that. Like that's what this is about, man. But we done went so
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Digital with it, we forgetting them original drums and them sounds, and that's not being passed on. Then you looking at, you want them sampling boom bap dudes. You know what I mean? And we
Mm-hmm.
put the originality of where the culture became the backseat to the digital era and this cookie cutter sound, and it's just a different era. And not to hate, because I like everything, new, old. I'm with it. I
Mm-hmm.
can adapt, right? But I'm never gonna
Mm-hmm.
let go of where this came from, even the mentality. But sadly enough, just like in the regular world, older heads mentality tends to be old. So even with hip hop, even writers like, oh, you one of them old writers. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a gender gap, in this, and that's crazy. And that's like kind of where I'm going with my book, The Bridge is Over, and where I'm segueing it into a different situation because again, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna fall back, but my era as I got older and everybody started making decisions was like that was it. Like when I told y'all friends was going to jail, dying and all that, it just got cut. So there was a nice little rift where it was just like, we don't know what's going on, hip hop wise. Everybody's just kind of
Mm-hmm.
doing whatever. And then one year, like new generations of cats on the South Side start bombing way more than we was. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Rhyming way more than we were, hitting the studio. creating crews, MC crews, DJs, like St. Paul, what I'm saying? Southside just really started. St. Paul was always cracking too, but I mean, like at that time, they just started just booming. Next thing you know, you got a whole scene going. That my community, where I come from, the street community, we ain't got no part of it no more. So I'm kind of like me and like guys like Truth Maze, a lot of guys from my era, uh, Despawn from Atmosphere, like Atmosphere. I used to write with the with Slug, the lead MC of
Hmm.
Atmosphere, but a lot of us transcended into the new era. But our crew, our people, our friends, our peers didn't come with us because we were a little older. These guys were a little younger, but we mixed in, started doing like showcases, radio drops. I started DJing on the radio. Things just started to blow up. And but that was a whole new era that blasted off. And it had no connection to my era at all. It really
Yeah.
didn't. And that's a social kind of commentary, because even when you look at DJ documentaries, and it shows the beginning guys like Jazzy J and Grand Wizard Theodore and Grandmaster Flash and so on and so forth, then it cuts off and then it goes to different regions and different backgrounds and
Hmm.
different races of DJs, like, and
Hmm.
other people who decided to get into the culture more so than when you was younger, when it was predominantly black and brown, right? Um,
Hmm.
so this era, this transition, like I said, was a nice little hiatus for a minute, and then you had Asian brothers and sisters, you had more Spanish brothers and sisters out here, you had more white kids doing stuff. You know what I mean? And guys from my era and sisters from my era transcended. Some of us transcended into that era, and then it turned into something else. So it's like if we didn't speak about where it came from, it's not going to be told because these guys don't know. We didn't have a passing the baton like, yo, I'm done writing. I'm gonna give you my name, or I'm gonna show you how to rhyme, or it
Hmm.
wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? In certain cases, it was people watching, like, I always watched you. But it wasn't a thing where you had that junior waiting, that new generation waiting to pass it on. We just was like, most of our cousins, friends, little brothers, they went to the streets. So maybe they played for a while you was serious with it just to hang with you. But then once you faded or you got older or they did something else with their life, art and rhyming, DJing in my community was broke down to just house parties. That was it. The DJ still
Hmm.
did his thing because it's house parties, but hip hop itself kind of morphed into something else. And like I said, the South Side, St. Paul did a real good job picking it up and towing that line. And that's the scene we have here now. Now it's a mixture of both, but it's funny because my neighborhood is playing catch up to everything now. Most of the kids in my neighborhood drilled out, while these other areas are boom bappy and kind of new age and all that. So it's just funny that line even of hip hop where you got these guys drilled and these guys trying to do the so-called boom bap, and that's not gelling, and that's a whole bigger conversation on a
Hmm.
worldwide scale, or just in a United States scale when it comes to music, because we have that misconception of where hip hop came from again, because it's just these kids aren't listening to. We're playing that age gap thing. Really, I just leave it at that. But that
Hmm.
age gap is something fierce right now. Oh, you an old head. We ain't
Right.
listening to you. You got that old music. I remember a kid walked up to me and I was DJing, not to get too far, yo. But he said, "Oh, you use the nose?" And I'm like, "What? I got Technique 1200s. What do you mean? What using what? Oh, you doing it the old way. I like how you doing that because I'm not pushing buttons and all this other stuff." I was like, "Oh, wow. I guess I am fossilized out here when it comes to what I do, but I still do it. But it's just,
Right.
it's a new era. It's a new era. You just gotta get with it or find your niche."
Me and Watt were talking earlier, and we were talking about how we missed the mixtapes and how those they were breaking records on these mixtapes with these exclusive records that you probably wouldn't even hear on the radio. You didn't hear no videos for them. They were just records that were groundbreaking to us, stuff that we listened to hundreds of times. We know you've had mixtape series. Do you miss the mixtape era?
I do. I was thinking about that the other day, man, because I've had people like hit me with a picture on Facebook and be like still rocking your mixtape or something like that, or pull out the CD. I
Mm,
find your
look at
old
that.
CD.
Wow.
Like, word, that's ill. You know, but now it's different. Everything's streamed out. You know, it's like
Mhm.
you gotta like do a YouTube video or something and do
Mm,
video, you know, do the joints or whatever. It's just different. You know what I mean? Like I my first mixtape sold for $20, 1989. 100, I
wow.
think 120-minute
Crazy.
Max L tape. And she's like, man, I'll give you 20 for it. I'm like, oh, this is dope. I started making tapes for days. I just kept doing it. Graduated to the 4-track, you know, got nice on the tables, was able to do some of the things I used to do on the 4-track myself, like just timing stuff out, just having fun, man, and getting inspired by other DJs. I remember seeing DJ SNS live, you know, that was
He
inspiring.
a
Like,
legend. That's a
Legendary.
legend.
yeah,
Legendary.
SNS,
Yeah.
ill, man. I just sat there and watched him, man. I just like this,
SNS.
like it was
Ron,
like,
I haven't
yo,
heard that name in a while.
man,
Ron
that dude is
G.
nice,
Ron
man.
G.
He's
SNS,
Yeah.
man.
Ron
Ron
G.
G. Yeah, I
Red
used to.
Alert
Yeah.
though,
Wow.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Red Alert is my favorite DJ of all
I was
time.
gonna ask you who's your favorite DJ.
It's Grandmaster Flash, really. You know what I'm saying? On the Wheels of Steel, that's just the illest. Like that's the collage cut joints. Like I love that. That nobody can tell me different, right? But nah, man. I would have to say him, man, because I used to get them tapes, and it was just fun. It was just so much. It was no, not. It wasn't just the music. Like I said, it was the drops. It was the ill cutting, the live, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I said, native tongue, like he just had he could pull from anywhere. Latifah, he had anybody, drops from everybody, little free, little 16s, like it was a show with his son with the, yeah, you know, all that.
Yeah, his
Like
little phrases too, like
it was an action packed
yeah,
show. Even
yeah.
Right.
like Molly Mall, Chili Q, Mr. Magic, you
Mhm.
know, like that. Like all that kind of stuff was inspired me to do radio. You know what I mean? Hearing songs I never heard and then hearing commentary that you don't hear because you're just buying tapes and records and but you don't hear
Right.
the actual commentary was just so dope and you know, dudes doing records that never came out, you know what I'm saying? Like the Molly Mall had that joint BS or whatever, and it had the little dun, 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 the something new beat. The Granddaddy I use something beat, something new. He
Hmm.
was rhyming over
Right,
that.
right, right.
You ain't gonna hear that on wax. Like you hearing exclusives. So it was
Or
like once I started doing radio, I was like, yo man, give me a little something that you ain't let everybody hear yet. Let me play it on here. Come freestyle and you know, tell your
mhm.
story. Like it was again, that was kind of the start of me learning that um my community has people that need to be showcased, that need to feel that they're making a difference here. You know, there's so many artists like we all know it. We all know friends of the struggling MCs or dudes that never made it. It's it's
Mhm.
it can hurt your ego. You put all this studio time, right, and you put all this into this thing, and there's a
Mhm.
million MCs out here, and they only picking 5.
Mhm.
You're gonna get your feelings hurt. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people out here with their feelings hurt, man. And I think just on a community based level, from all elements of hip hop, I just think these communities need to do their due diligence when it comes to hip hop to honoring the people that came before them. Sparky D, not Sparky D, I'm not the real Sparky D, but you know, Wizard Glenn or whoever, just these guys and women from around our way that used to dance, used to rhyme, used to DJ, you know what I mean? Whatever element, you know what I mean? These things kind of shaped our lives. Oh, I remember him back in the day. He used to be dancing, he do the Michael Jackson in the gym or whatever.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like they need them props. You know what I'm saying? This is a culture,
Indeed.
multi-million-dollar culture. So props don't cost a
Right.
thing. You know what I'm saying? If you just put it together right, because
Right.
it also instills a pride in your community. Like even here, like we don't have people that just you know, do the elements. I know a sister, her name is Latunji. She makes cakes and pastries and food and stuff like that. She been there since the beginning. You know what I'm saying? She just didn't pick up an element. I think she tried to rhyme at one time, but she's just always been down with the culture. Now she's cooking. And there's other people
Mhm.
that we know who are cooking or doing other things, lawyers, whatever. You
Mhm.
utilize that. that helps, maybe an artist on the lawyer side. It helps
Mm-hmm.
like Matunji and other people like her catered events that we done. Like I did a joint at the museum last year, what I'm saying, to commemorate Twin Cities Hip Hop Day. You have like people who come and serve food that are part of the culture. Just
Right.
more
And
than the other
it's
things.
important.
It
That's
is.
That's how
important to
you build
honor the people,
community too.
right?
It
That's
Honor
how
the
you
is.
people
build
that
community. Yeah.
contributed to the culture and solidified the culture in our respective communities. Because, not everyone knows the story of Minnesota hip hop. Not everybody, it seems like always New York, California,
Right.
got
The
Chicago,
South.
Hollywood.
obviously
The South.
Chicago, right? We've always had the
Atlanta.
spotlights on these major cities, but there's
Right.
so many other cities that contributed a great amount of content, a great amount of talent
Look at the Bay,
within the
bro.
culture. Yeah,
The Bay
right,
still,
right,
you know what I'm saying? All these
right.
different
Yeah. Yeah.
places, for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Milwaukee,
So
yo.
every city should document it.
Yeah, man. That's the thing.
And
And again, it's instilling that pride in you from where you from. Like people
yeah,
didn't. There's a lot of cities, including this one back in the day, where people just didn't want to admit that they were from here. It just didn't seem cool to do because everybody was influenced by other places, and you can still do that. The world is an influence, but also realize that you got jewels right in front of you, or jewels in the making. You know what I'm saying? That that
mm-hmm,
that have a talent to do something. Because again, from the empowerment that I see in hip hop culture is not based just on the elements of the culture. This dude take pictures. You know what I mean? He's got a,
mm-hmm,
you know what I mean? There's so many different parts of this now that are helping to run this machine too. Businessmen and women. Like it's a whole different animal from just being able to be. Oh, I know how to do this. And seeing that happen here is a beautiful thing because it's a big thing here. That's like anywhere else. When you look at Austin, Texas, and different cities where there's something really going on. You can go here and do a residency. You know what I mean? Like you could come down and do a speaking engagement. I can see the three brothers coming out here doing a speaking engagement. And guess what? The place will be packed. You know what I mean? Like that's that we've come to that where maybe 25, 30 years ago, this might not have happened, right? In that kind of
mm-hmm,
way. In that kind of way. Where now we can and the way technology moves as well. Like I said, I went from seeing you on postcards and pictures and stuff, UL, to sitting here talking with you. That's technology, man. And again, that's an honor to
mm-hmm,
sit here with the three of you brothers, but that's technology. You know what I mean? I just grew up hearing about
right,
you. Now we're talking, we're able to FaceTime and speak
right,
together, build on these topics,
right,
man.
right.
To come
Yeah,
from
yeah,
where I'm sending letters to you. I might have sent you a letter years ago, and
right.
now I can reach out and touch you. Like we how you doing, good brother? You hit me, I hit you. Like that's beautiful,
Right.
man. I
Yeah,
never
yeah,
thought that
yeah.
would have happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
there was a time where I would like look at some of the applications from the headquarters sent to PO Box 510 in the Bronx, New York,
mm, mm,
10475, and not even know who this is and just read through applications, and now we could talk through Zoom, we could do conference
yes
calling,
indeed,
you know what I'm
yes
saying?
indeed.
Like literally there's no barriers between building.
Right.
Um, so, like now's the time more than ever. Like people use this YouTube to talk ignorance and negativity. We as Zulus, we should strive to use this platform for positivity and documenting history. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're
Mhm.
striving to do here at Spearz and Micz. And it's a great honor for us to have you on here to discuss your experiences. We'd love to have you back on as
Yeah.
well. Anytime you got something going on, any
For real.
announcements you got to make, what I'm saying, our platform is your platform. It's for us. You know what I
I
mean?
just like
So
talking that talk sometimes. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I like to
yeah,
just
well, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
unload.
Well, come
yeah.
on,
Go
come on
ahead. Go
down,
ahead.
brother. Like,
Yeah, man.
yo, I'm
For
telling
real.
you, this is for us, for real. Yo, all you got to do is say, hey, I know y'all recording Thursday. Can I jump in there? I got something to say. And that's,
Word.
I'm, got,
Go
you know what I
off.
mean?
Go
Go
off.
off. You know what I
Word.
mean? Go off.
Absolutely.
For
Word.
real.
That,
So keep that in mind. Keep that
definitely,
in mind. You know what I mean?
definitely.
Something bothering you, whatever you want to, or you got something to speak about, or you got an announcement. You know what I'm saying? You got an event that you want to promote, whatever. The book, when the second book comes out, You know what I'm saying? Same thing. We want you on here to talk about that book as well. You know,
Right,
That's a
and
fact.
be sure to
right,
get me all them links for the book and all of that. We'll discuss and I'll add all of this stuff in the description.
sure.
As well as contacts where people could reach out to you, you know, should they want to build with you or connect with you.
Okay, no doubt.
What's some of your upcoming projects and endeavors? What you got going
Um,
on?
I'm gonna do another Twin City Hip Hop Day, second annual event.
Nice.
Nothing major, but I'm into dialogue now. I try to urge people to think about where this goes because again, this is a commodity. So I try to instill something. I let you go. I just put the space out there, I put the banner up, I say my little stuff, but I want people to come away with ideas and do things on their own. I'm 52 years old. I'm not going to be here forever. I want this. I want tradition to keep going. You know what I mean? I
Mm,
want tradition to whether, and it doesn't have to be me leaving the earth. I mean, I might just walk away from it tomorrow and disappear in Route 66 or something like that. You know what I mean? But keep it going. You know what I mean? It's
mm,
not just, it shouldn't have to be me or a group of individuals doing this. Have pride in yourself, have pride in your community. And I think that that's a big thing now, but at one time it wasn't like that. And I'm not saying that I sparked it to make people wake up, but at the same time, when you do events like that, it's kind of an underdog thing where the events are strictly about camaraderie, strictly about singing for the unsung people in your community that you grew up seeing or that you saw around the way that had potential to make it but didn't make it. You know what I mean? And I just kind of felt the way, and I still do, because I know a lot of people that was coming up throughout the years that really gave their lives to this. Some have actually died, but I mean, people that have given their lives to this and didn't get nothing out of it. They didn't. A lot of dudes, got burnt by managers and DJs were just resorted to just house parties and basements, getting shot up every week. You know what I mean? It was
mm,
there was nobody. We had people around, certain individuals around that would know the managerial part of it and try to organize people. But some of them was taking the dough and doing things. There was a group here called IRM Crew, and they were signed to KTL Records. That was big. I mean, these guys was
mm,
tops. They was the first guys to cut records, first DJ to scratch on a record, you know what I'm saying? DJ cutting Cal, but you had these guys was like awesome. They showed people that you could be signed. You can really do this. But again, that environment at the time was more street oriented in the 80s. So it wasn't just about I'm just sitting around here all night, rhyming. There's people that did do that, but it was like side hustle, survival, like that. You know what I'm saying? But
mm,
IRM crew, Troop Maze, uh, KLC, Devastating D, Mike Mack, TLC, like these guys, and DJ Cut and Cal, these guys were the elite crew at the time. And again, they
Truth,
showed Troop
Truth
Maze.
Maze was the chapter leader, right, for a while, the Zulu chapter leader, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And he was the one who created that first formation that I told you about with the 8-point star thing. I don't think he did, I don't know if he did the star thing, but he kind of created that mentality with everybody because he created an organization called MBBO, Minneapolis B-Boy Organization. And he was like, Troop Mays was like the godfather of this. Like the guy, like he was a walking inspiration as far as what hip hop was because he was an MC. He started out as a beatboxer, but then he became this ill MC and kind of even took helm of the group at one time. And he's been here ever since, man. He still do stuff. He's innovative, play the drums. It ain't just him, but he's the guy that created a lot of organization in this at the time during the era of gang violence and stuff like that. He was like the one, like, nah, man, because he was another person that came from our community that lived both lives. Like he lived a life as a hip hop guy, but he's also entrenched in the street culture. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So he was able to, because that's what it was then. The parties always end up ill, throwing the
mm,
speaker or something. There's always had to be somebody that was from the
mm,
area, like, yo, chill, like that. It was a lot of that. But Truth Mays did that on a wide scale. He was respected in both cities, Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. and he basically created that level of organization outside of the graffiti community, because that has its own form of organization. But he was the
Mm,
man, and he still is though. You know what I'm saying? But when it came to that, he definitely was an orchestrator in getting people together. He was also a member of the
no
group called the
doubt.
Micronauts, if you don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
Self
I know him.
Mine,
Yeah.
and my man DJ Kool
Mm-hmm.
Akeem, who's also an Aki. DJ Kool Akeem, shout out to him. But yeah, Truth Made, man, he definitely brought perspective together and showed people along with his team that you can do this no matter what element you take. Even his not to go too far, but their first album, my the president of the crew that I wanted to get into, which I eventually did, he did the piece for them on the album, IRM crew and graffiti in peace, letters or whatever on First Avenue, the nightclub, the Prince, Purple Rain, all that. So they did a piece
Mm-hmm.
in there, you know what I mean? Like these guys were large, man. They, you know what I'm saying? They are part of this fabric. And it's like you can't forget them. You can't forget all the other guys and sisters that didn't that were just community based, but they influenced you, or you had a great time because of these people. They made, areas safe. That's another thing back then, DJ Travitron, DJ Disco T, rest in peace. That's my big bro. These guys, like of course, we had gang infested parties. People got hurt, stabbed, all that, right? But they did their best to create a safe environment. They wanted you to get home. Maybe just so you can come back and spend more money. I don't know, but they wanted you to get home. They wanted it safe, man. You know what I'm saying? And my first parties were, hip hop parties where they wanted you to get home safe. Just have fun, teen joints. But so it has a space in my heart as far as like DJing and all that in my community in those early days, because I hate to say it, but our rim crew was the only ones out. Everything else when it came to hip hop, when the community base was DJ oriented. Just like in the beginning, of hip hop, where, you had certain DJs that you went to their party and they had MCs, you know what I mean? That's how it was
Mm-hmm.
with like Ray Seville, Disco T, DJ Travitron, DJ Bowlegs. All these guys were community based, hood based. And people were drawn to them. You know what I mean? So that was my influence too. I used to go to parties just with records, just watch them, even before I wanted to DJ, because that set the tone. Even with writing, like we bring a little radio and the music would set the vibe for what we're on. You know what I mean? So I was always just like watching the DJ, just chilling. DJ Jules, rest in peace. You know what I mean? There's a lot of DJs out here that don't get the respect that they deserve, man. That people just forgot about because we play the vinyl instrument for your soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? But there's so many house parties and so many things that just went unsung. Wild nights, bullets going through the crates, like things like that. Just
Mm-hmm.
hip hop. We've had life and death experiences with our comrades. You know what I mean? Just like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, man. Y'all know what I'm talking about,
Definitely.
man.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely, man.
Real.
Yo, man, it's been a real honor to have you on here, brother, for real. We really appreciate your time, your energy, and your sacrifice. Because I know me and you were talking earlier. You said you got to work early in the morning.
Yeah, but
We
it's
got to
worth
work
it.
early too. You know
Once
what I
I get
mean?
to
So we
talking, it's over,
appreciate it.
man. Come on, man. Once I get going.
We definitely
I'm
need
an
to
Yeah,
do that.
introvert, brother, but if we sit around talk about hip hop, I'm gone. Like, yo, the stage, man, I gotta go, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Because I just love it like that, man. I'm always like trying to create ideas
Right,
and do
no
functions,
doubt,
and where before it was about money, now it's just about information.
no doubt, fam.
Well,
right.
Well, we'll definitely have you on here soon
Or
to keep building, keep and just keep doing what you're doing, brother. Like for real, what you're doing is major for your state, your city. You know what I'm saying? Don't give up. Just keep on pushing it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you need the Zulus to help you with, support. I'm sure the Omega Zulus will help you, and whatever we could do for Spearz and Micz and the rest of the Zulus in the Zulu Union, we're always at by your side to help you do anything we can help. Let us know. Just reach out to us
definitely, I
well,
for
appreciate that.
real.
but
Definitely
plug your
appreciate it.
social media for people that's listening and for me too. So I could hit you up on social media if you have any.
DJ Stage One SSB, Instagram, DJ Stage One at gmail.com. Email me. You know what I mean? I even send I send mixes. I got MP3s. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? I got PDF of my book. If I run out of books, I can send a PDF. We can do all that, man. I'm just, at this point, I actually got off of my Facebook and all that, man.
That
And
is
starting
true.
over,
I don't see you no more. That
yeah,
is true.
starting over in social media, I feel like now that I know that there's hanger-ons, watchers, people just blank, this just add you to add you, you never hear from them again. Now I'm more
Hmm.
Mhm.
selective of who I have
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right,
listening, watching what I'm doing. You know what I
right,
mean?
right, right, right. Yeah,
It actually felt good to get off of it. But like when you are doing things, you need to promote. And
right.
Kinko's ain't it no more. You know what I mean? So the internet is where it's at. So you gotta have platforms
Absolutely.
to get it out there like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise it's whatever. But I actually didn't miss it. You know what I mean? I'm
Me
I'm from
neither.
the era before it, but I didn't miss it at all. And then when I
Right,
Mm-hmm.
started dibbling and dabbling on it again, I could see the inconsistencies and how it pulls you in. How somebody might want to,
right,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, did they like it? Let me go check.
right, right, right,
What
right,
they
Mm-hmm.
right,
say
right,
about
right,
me, just all that, man. It's just like that's a whole different animal. It
right.
creates
Yeah,
algorithms and things, and you start to see patterns. You
Yep.
right.
learn about yourself, even like you keep looking at sports now. Your whole YouTube is just full of sports because
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
they're
rabbit
reading.
hole. It becomes a
Yeah,
rabbit
they
hole.
can
Yeah.
read you. Yeah, they
Mm-hmm.
read your whole
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle. They know where you're from.
Yep.
They know where you vacation. They know where your family live because you visit every
Yep.
year. Hospital. You go to. It's just a tracking
Mm-hmm.
device
Yeah,
at this
it's
point.
wild.
So I
You
felt
you
awful
Yeah.
talk about
creative.
it on the phone. You be on
Yeah,
the phone with somebody, and then when you go on the internet, what you talked about is right on
Yep.
there.
yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Yep.
Yeah,
saying? It's
the
Happens
crazy.
all the
It's
algorithm.
time.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's
it's
crazy.
clocking your MO. It's clocking what you into. You know what I'm saying? What type
Mm-hmm.
of foods you like, everything. You know what I mean? The vicinities you be in. Like when you get on an app, can we track your location? Or can
No,
just when I
absolutely
use
not.
this app, it has the three
Right. Right.
options, but all three of them are still following you around. All three of them are still
Mm-hmm.
collecting data about you. So you're not
Right.
winning anyway. You're not cloaking anything.
No,
They
you
can
could
follow
turn
your whole.
everything off, and they still, yeah, it's
Yeah,
still gonna happen regardless.
it's
For
wild,
Yeah.
real.
man. It's
Nah, it
wild.
is. It is. It is. Technology,
Everybody just
man.
be careful out there. Watch what you say, watch what you do, watch your patterns. I guarantee if you take a week off of Facebook or social media in general and just use your phone and like that, get your money and all, you'll see a change for a minute. You'll feel funny
Right.
coming back because you'll feel, especially people our age, because we know what life is before that. Children maybe not
Mm-hmm.
because they're growing into. I see like 3 year olds using tablets and things, so they're connected. It might be a little
Mm-hmm.
different for them, but we came from
Mm-hmm.
so many different eras of technology where we can wing ourselves off for a minute. It might become a part of our life because it is a part of our lives. I have to,
Right.
track my money and, whatever, my hours, clock in on my phone. You know what I'm saying? So we do, it's become a part of us, but social media doesn't have to be. So it's like, I
Right.
urge everybody just one time. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It might be good for you, bad for me, but take a week off and just see the change.
Mm-hmm.
For real. Your
I
life is
agree.
busy
I
enough
agree.
that you don't have to tap into Facebook every 5 minutes. Get off Facebook for a
Mm-hmm.
week. That's all. I've been
Right.
on Facebook for since last October. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like I
crazy.
was off of it. And I didn't miss anything. Once I started seeing how social media was and people tapping in because of who you are, promote this for me. Here's some music. It's just like, oh
Mm-hmm.
man, here we go again. People that I
Mm-hmm.
know wouldn't help me, but they want me to help them. And it's just you got to weed them out. So now I'm just more selective. And I
No
don't care if
doubt.
you're a graffiti writer, your piece looks dope. I might have to analyze it real quick before I friend you. It's just a new day, bro. But I don't want to hold
For
y'all, man.
real.
But everybody out there, just be careful. Just cameras are everywhere, all that. Just be careful, man. Just
Yes,
watch
sir.
yourself. All
Yeah,
right.
indeed. Appreciate
Word.
that. Yo, brother, when we end this, when I hit the stop button, just hold on for a minute, all right? With
All
us
right.
in here so we can chop it up real quick.
For real. I got
Peace.
Peace.
you. Peace.